If your goal is to get ripped, then you've probably heard about bulking and cutting cycles, right? In fact, if you've been training for a while, I'm sure you've done a few bulks and cuts already. Or if you're fresh to the lifting game, maybe you're looking to do them for the very first time. No matter where you currently are, in this video I'm going to explain why doing bulking and cutting cycles is hands down the quickest and most effective way to build a ripped physique. And I'll also show you how to set them up to get the best results possible. Okay, so before looking at the power of bulking and cutting cycles, let's first define what a ripped physique is. There are two things that characterize a ripped physique. Number one, a low body fat percentage, and number two, good muscular development. When you put these two together, you will get that physique with a slim waist, thick shoulders and upper back, masculine chest, well-developed arms and powerful looking legs. Just like Mr. Skarsgård got in The Legend of Tarzan. One without the other doesn't cut it. If you're lean without much muscle, you just look skinny and small. If you're muscular but have it all covered up with fat, sure you will look big, but you won't turn any heads around. So how do you accomplish both of these goals? Or more importantly, what's the quickest way of doing so? Well, by using bulking and cutting cycles. So, what are bulking and cutting? In short, these are just synonyms created by the bros, or why not call them bronyms, for building muscle and losing fat. And here are the basic definition of the words. Bulking is done over a period of time with the goal to gain weight, add muscle and/or increase strength. Typically, the word bulking is associated with being in a caloric surplus, which is required to maximize any or a combination of these goals. Cutting, on the other hand, is done over a period of time with the goal to lose body fat. And for fat loss to occur, a caloric deficit must be present. And the fact that you must be in a caloric surplus to maximize muscle growth and in a caloric deficit to lose body fat is the reason why bulking and cutting cycles is the quickest way to get a ripped physique. But now you might ask, why can't I just gain muscle and lose fat simultaneously? Do I need to cut and bulk? Well, even though body recomposition, as building muscle and losing fat simultaneously is called, will happen if you train hard for multiple years and just eat enough to maintain your body weight, it's an extremely slow process that is only effective during 4 circumstances. The first one is in beginners. People that are new to training can build muscle and lose fat effectively simultaneously because the stimulus to training is so fresh. And the second one is in overweight and obese. These individuals have a large surplus of stored energy on the body, which effectively can be used as energy by the muscle building process. And number 3 is in detrained. People that have been laying off their training for a while and become detrained. These individuals increased something called their numbers of myonuclei within their muscles during the training they previously did. And these myonuclei stay in the muscle for far longer than actual muscle tissue do, ready to return it to the previous conditioning once training continues. This is known as the bro term muscle memory. And number 4 is in steroid users. Individuals that take supraphysiological doses of androgens effectively ramp up their amounts of myonuclei within the muscles and will experience the muscle memory effect that detrained individuals do while not being detrained at all. So, assuming that you want to stay natural, the more training experience you gather, the leaner you get and the less detrained you become, the slower it will be to gain muscle and lose fat simultaneously. And even if you currently fall under any of the 4 circumstances just mentioned, you will still see slower results than if you choose to focus all of your energy on one goal at a time. So the best way to get a ripped physique as quickly as possible is by optimizing muscle growth and fat loss separately, via the use of bulking and cutting cycles, where your muscle mass increases over time while your fat mass goes up in the short term but stays the same or even go down in the long term. And the biggest reason why bulking and cutting cycles is so powerful is because you stay lean while maximizing muscle growth. Here's the thing. Trying to maximize muscle growth is somewhat of a paradoxical task. First, you need to be in a caloric surplus that's bigger than the surplus just required to build the muscle in theory. In other words, if your goal is to maximize muscle growth, then a bit of body fat storage will simply come with the territory. And this is because of something called nutrient partitioning, where some of the additional calories you eat throughout the day when bulking will go towards fat storage and not muscle growth. So a caloric surplus that's bigger than what's just required to build the muscle in theoretically must be present in order to maximize muscle growth. And second, which is where the paradox comes in, is that you must also stay relatively lean in order to maximize muscle growth. By staying lean, you will have a better hormonal environment for growth in the body with better insulin sensitivity and testosterone to cortisol ratios, etc. So as you can see, a cutting phase will be necessary eventually after you have been bulking for a while. Because, to put it in Dr. Mike Israetel's words, eventually you will become desensitized to growth following a prolonged period of overfeeding, where you'll only piss away time by storing mostly fat if you continue to bulk once you reach a higher body fat percentage. Furthermore, staying fairly lean year-round is also a lot healthier to the body. And finally, most people also enjoy the process towards building a lean and muscular physique more and typically feel better when being lean as opposed to bulked up. So this leads to the question, how long should your bulking and cutting cycles be? Well, here's the deal. There's no definitive answer to this question. The length of your bulking and cutting cycles should ideally be determined by your body fat percentage and not by fixed timestamps. In other words, you should work within a certain range of body fat. Here's a quick outline of the whole bulking and cutting system. Number 1, get lean first. This is the foundation, which is very important. Having around 8 to 10% body fat for males and 15 to 17% for females is the best place to start at, both when it comes to maximizing muscle growth and also for staying healthy. Number 2, once you are lean, that's when you start lean bulking using a caloric surplus that's as big as your rate of maximum muscular potential, until you have reached 15% body fat for males and 25% body fat for females. This upper point is typically when you have lost the definition of all your abs. Number 3, when you reach 15% respectively 25%, start cutting until you're back down to 8 to 10%, respectively 15 to 70% again. And finally, number 4, repeat this process until you're happy with your physique or have reached your natural genetic potential. So, as you can see, training experience is actually what determines the length of the bulking and cutting cycles. If you want to maximize muscle growth, then the less training experience you have, the quicker you can gain muscle during your bulking phases, and vice versa. This means that with less training experience, your bulking and cutting cycles will be shorter, simply because when you gain muscle quicker, you will also add fat quicker. And on the other end, with more training experience, the opposite will be true. Okay, now I'm sure that some of you will still wonder, but Niklas, how long will the cutting and bulking cycles be? Please give me a timestamp to work with. Well, fine, here's an example. Let's say that you're stepping into the novice/intermediate realm. You've been training consistently and appropriately for 1 year. Now, according to Lyle McDonald's maximum muscular potential table, you can at the upcoming year gain around 1 pound of muscle per month. And since it theoretically requires a 2,500 calorie surplus to gain 1 pound of muscle per month, you would need to eat roughly 83 calories above maintenance each day. But to ensure that you're gaining muscle at the maximum rate, by taking nutrient partitioning into consideration, I like to double this number. By doing this, you will end up gaining roughly 2 pounds of weight per month, where 1 pound is muscle and 1 pound is fat. So how long will your bulk last then? Well, let's assume that you start out lean at around 10% body fat, which you should, and you weigh 165 pounds. To save you the math, it would take you 9 months to go from 10% body fat to 15% body fat by gaining 1 pound of muscle and 1 pound of fat per month. During this time, you will add a total of 14 pounds of weight to your frame, where 7 of these pounds will be muscle mass. Okay, cool, so how long will your cut last then? Well, to get back down to 10% body fat without muscle loss, you shouldn't lose weight faster than around 1 pound per week. So here's some math. Looking at this math, we can see that you have to lose roughly 9 pounds of fat to get back down to 10% body fat, which means that it will take you around 9 weeks if you lose 1 pound per week. Now, a quick note here as well, these numbers are estimates only. There are so many variables that will skew these numbers in one way or the other. But in a totally neurotic theoretical fashion, for a novice stepping into the second year of training, 9 months bulking, respectively 9 week cutting, is approximately what the length of the cycles will end up being. Okay, so finally, I just want to stress how important it is that you make sure you stay consistent. Building a ripped physique takes time, especially if you want to build a lot of muscle mass naturally. What it all comes down to is committing to a training and dieting system that you can see yourself using for a long time. I can't stress enough how important it is to make the commitment. This is what I did a few years back as I decided to stop being skinny fat and totally transform my life. And I know that you can do it too, if you just get started. And luckily, during the first 3 to 4 years of serious training with correctly set up bulking and cutting cycles, improvements to your physique happens very quickly. So find a system and get started today. You'll definitely thank yourself in a year. Now, not sure whether you should start with a bulk or cut? Then make sure you check out this video. Now, I want to leave it to you. How will you go about building your physique? Will you just gain at maintenance or will you use bulking and cutting cycles? Let me know down in the comment section below right now. Thanks for watching guys, and remember to subscribe, and I'll be seeing you in the next video. Bye.